On this video, we're going to be talking about EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. It's a tapping technique that can help you through any form of anxiety, any form of panic, and just loosen and reduce those emotions. My name is Piers and I've been using EFT for nearly 20 years. I was trained originally by Gary Craig, who was the founder of EFT, and it's helped hundreds of clients that I've been working with, and since then I've been learning and understanding other types of tapping techniques as TFT and a whole mass of others. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying one is better than the other because there are so many arguments on which one is best, but this one is so simple and I use it a lot with my clients, and I've taught people and they've taught their children, they've taught their work colleagues how to use it because it is so simple. So let's get down to the basics. We have meridian energies in our body. Now, meridians are the sort of ley lines, so to speak, of energy within the body. And it's like a grid. And at certain points, which acupuncturists get involved with, that's where they stick their needles, and it really just helps neutralize and remove pains and toxins and things like that from certain areas which cause problems. So if you have earache or something like that, you stick something in your foot and it clears that channel and the earache stops. Now, I don't know much about acupuncture, but I've experienced it many times by having it administered to me by professionals and had incredible results with it. But this is not pins, this is just using your fingers. And that's why it's so simple. And the lovely thing about it, there's nothing dangerous or nothing can go wrong. The negative side is you might not change. The positive side, you're going to get a huge change. I'm going to remove that short circuit inside your body. That feeling of doom will just go. And that's what I love about this. It's so simple. Now, when Gary Craig first taught this, there were hundreds of different points and you had to put your eyes to the left and right and hum certain music, etc. But this is a very simple way that he taught me in the early 2000s. And this is the one that I teach everybody because it is so simple. So if someone comes to me, or if you like to play along with the idea, just think of something that is really not working for you at the moment. Whether you've got a bit of pain in your shoulders or your neck, or you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling bad, or you look outside and it's a dull, foggy day like it is today, and you suddenly go, oh, my energy's low, and I feel a bit bleh. So you say, okay, and you find what you call your karate chop point, and this is a meridian point, and this is where, if you were doing acupuncture for certain things, they may stick needles in this part, but we're just going to use 2 or 3 fingers on here. Now, the reason why I say 3 fingers, the points are along here, and if you use 3 fingers, you're going to hit them. If you use 1, you might not. So just 3 there, and this is called the setup. And just tap like that, very gently. You don't give yourself bruises or anything like that. It's a very gentle tap. So even though I feel a bit low energy and a bit fed up and a bit negative, I deeply and completely accept myself. Basically, you're saying that I'm an okay person. And you repeat that 3 times. Even though I'm feeling a bit low, I deeply and completely accept myself. Breathing in, breathing out. And even though I just feel a bit low and a bit yucky, it's a bit boring outside, and I'm just feeling a bit low, I deeply and completely accept myself. So you can tell by that the exact words at this stage are not that important. Just that general feeling. And sometimes if I just feel a bit, it doesn't have to be a word, it can be a sound, because your body will know what really means. And you do that 3 times. So you set up here and just keep tapping it while you do it. There you go. And you just keep tapping till you said the first 3. And then you hit the points. And I've drawn them on my not very human looking diagram here. And here is my slightly robotic, funny-faced man, but it will do for this thing. And this is a tapping point here, number 1, which is on the top of your head. And you say this feeling of bleh. And then you move on to tapping to point 2, which is just here. So you've got your eye socket there and your nose coming down, but it's just on that point there. Using 2 fingers, you push it here. Just tap very gently. You don't hurt yourself. this feeling of blur. Third one, this feeling of blur. Now under the eye, blur, this feeling of blur. Now the feeling, and now underneath your nose, where you have a moustache perhaps, this feeling of blur. Under your chin, this feeling of blur. And now on your collarbone, just here. So anywhere in this triangle here, just tap. And I always find if you hit your collarbone, it vibrates all the parts of your body. And you do it 3 times. This feeling of blur, 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 this feeling of blur. This feeling of blur, 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 this feeling of blur. So let's go through those points. 1, on the top of the head. 2, 3 on the outside of the eye. 4 underneath the eye. 5 underneath the nose. 6 on the chin. 7. And the words are even though I feel accept myself. And it's as simple as that. Once you've done 3, so you've gone around 3 times, blup, 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 just close your eyes and think for a second, okay, how do I feel now? If on the Richter scale, 10 is I'm going mad and I can't carry on, and 0 is it's gone, what was I? I was about a 6 beforehand. Fine, what am I now? Oh, I feel like a 3. So I could carry on with the feeling of blur, but what I'd like people to do, because the feelings can change, say, okay, even though I've got this remaining 3, I deeply and completely accept myself. If you want to say I've remaining 3 of blur, you can, but even though I've got this remaining 3, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I've still got this remaining 3, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I've still got this remaining 3, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then you just repeat the whole thing 3 times. This feeling of 3. This remaining 3. This remaining feeling of 3, 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 this remaining feeling of 3. This remaining feeling of 3, 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 remaining feeling of 3. This remaining feeling of 3, remaining feeling of 3, remaining feeling of 3, remaining feeling of 3, the remaining feeling of 3, remaining feeling of 3, remaining feeling of 3. How do I feel now? Actually, I feel really good. And then I've been doing it to myself. My shoulders loosened off, my neck's loosened off, and I feel really good. But you continue going until you get a 0. Now, some people, this could be 5 or 6 rounds. Other people, it's 2 or 3. And I use this probably once or twice a day. So I tend to clear things very quickly. I've used it on a hangover before, even though I drank too much last night and I feel really bleh this morning. I can reduce a hangover from a 7 down to a 2 or 3 within 2 minutes. And that's quite a fun thing to do. Now, I'm not saying go out and get plastered and test it, but quite seriously, when you just wake up in the morning and you don't feel like getting out of bed, just do it. And after a bit, you can do it without actually tapping on yourself at all. You can just imagine yourself tapping. But to start with, just stick with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like this. 1, 2, just that point there. But use 2 fingers and you'll hit it. 3 on the outside. 4. And this one helps clear the sinuses as well. 5, 6, 7. Now, if you watch this video 2 or 3 times, you'll pick it up very quickly. But the words are, even though I feel scared of flying, I dread the plane's going to crash, I completely and deeply accept myself. Even though I feel depressed, Even though I feel panicky about walking into that supermarket, so I might catch some virus. Even though I feel that I can't cope today because the kids are screaming and I just can't cope anymore, I deeply and completely accept myself. And you do this while doing, it's called the setup. And it's very simply done. Even though I feel X, I deeply and completely accept myself. So if you just go through that, you're going to find it's very, very simple. Now, if you haven't, and my advice would be to do so, just subscribe to this channel and hit the little bell next door to you. You'll get a little ping every time I load something up on the YouTube channel. And this will teach you new ways of helping yourself and helping others. And whether you're a coach or a therapist, whether you're doing it for yourself, whether you're doing it as part of your job, what I put up on this channel is generally taught on my courses, my practitioner courses, master practitioner courses, that will help you just become much easier inside yourself. You feel more comfortable inside your skin. So I look forward to seeing you on the next adventure in a week's time. Take care.